good idea, you know, what they need, how many of the people they should be counting on, and so on.
Yes. Well, again, we'll sit down and determine, again, the numbers of people, how long you want to eat. As I said, more on the activity level.
Okay.
You know, if it's people my age who are inactive, I'm not inactive, I'm very active, but people are my age and they're retired at home, probably less food. But we really work out a good program, and we also, by the way, we don't charge for this service. We figure that's cost of doing business, and we work to put these packages together, no additional charge for our time, and we work on a nice package. But we have these spreadsheets, which actually is our our order form, and we will go down. You like spaghetti with meat sauce? Yes, I do. Do you like chicken a la king? Yep. Do you like noodles and chicken? No, I don't. And by the way, noodles and chicken is very good. But we pick the items they want. We give them. We have pre-planned units, and they just say, "Give me a unit," and that's fine, and they're great. But we figure you're going to need this stuff one day.
So customize it.
Yeah, not for the end of the world, and it's also great for the little disasters, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway.
Let me just address that little disaster thing, okay? Mm-hmm. I've been through what's called CERT, Citizens Emergency Response Team. I'm a leader in that, and our training instructor told us that when he started in the disaster preparedness businesses, you know, working at the county level and interfacing with FEMA and so on, that you know, he started out telling everybody, well, you know, be prepared to be on your own for 3 days, 72 hours, and then he always took care of himself with a couple of weeks worth of stuff, you know, figuring, well, you know, that's what I tell them, but I believe that you need more. Well, then as he's continued to see more of what was going on, he increased that, both what he was telling people to be ready for, and then what he upped for his own supply and timeline, to I believe it was a week. And then he personally was experienced in the whole Katrina. He got called up for Katrina and the whole New Orleans problem. And he said after that, he's now telling people, be prepared to be on your own in the worst case scenario, just natural disaster, for a month before governments can get it together. You know, we have a major earthquake here in California. Sewage lines, water lines, gas lines, power lines are going to be down. And same could be in other parts of the country for different reasons. It could be a long time. So he is now telling people a month, and he said that he's gone to 3 months on his own personal minimum supply, and I'm sure there's a lot that he's not telling us about. I also look at, you know, having more than one place that I've got some of my provisions, if you will. I don't want to go into a great deal of detail on that, but here's one of the things that has come up is, you know, I kind of feel like I am my brother's keeper. I am, you know, to take care of my neighbors where I can, and my first neighbors start out with my extended family. And not everybody's as prepared and forward-thinking or have the resources to be prepared. And there's going to be some hungry mouths that I'm going to have to take care of well beyond my immediate family and want to take care of. So in the overall count, do you take that into consideration? Or
very much. Interesting you mentioned that, Gene. It's part of my personal conviction, just exactly what you said. I'm blessed where I'm in this business, and I figure the day will come, I believe, when I'll be called upon to feed a whole lot of people, and that's part of the deal, you know. And that, if it's a disaster of more than, well, Katrina covered a large area, but it was still relatively localized. A lot of people smarter than me, a lot of money people, I mean, people who really know money, are concerned we're going into something that might make the '29 depression look pretty good. You know, and that's no secret to anybody that's looking around. If that happens, then in my case, when money possibly would be not worth anything, then my job is to feed as many people as I can. Because nice thing about America, Americans really stick together. The old traditional American is a good guy. Like my Texas customers tell me, I'll be your best best friend or your worst enemy, you call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you know, good people. There's a lot of good people all over. We hear about the negative all the time. But
Yeah.
part of my commitment and my firm belief in life is, just like you said, I'm my brother's keeper, and I've been given this position. The blessing came from God, and I'm in this, and you know, we will help as many people as we can. And anyway.
Well, I want to get back to some food storage stuff because, you know, we were talking about those mixed meals and so on, and those sound great, and I've used those actually myself. But I also know that if I am squirreling stuff away and I do have a supply of fresh food and maybe some longer-term storage grains and stuff like that, the hardest thing that I think would be to get, unless I want to be eating a lot of dog and cat, is meat.
Always. It's always in a disaster. Historically, animal protein is always the first thing to disappear. Was it 4 years ago this coming Christmas, we had the tsunami that hit Indonesia.
Right.
A very good friend of mine was the man who forecast that 3 days out. I heard him. I was actually listening to him on a radio program, a scientist that's very accurate. He was 3 days off, and he didn't forgive himself for being that. But anyway, the thing was, even prior to the tsunami, possibly many hours prior, animals started getting restless. The cows started running off, goats and such ran away. They were flooded out, and they were carried away. So, again, in a terrible disaster, you'll lose your animal protein due to, you might say, natural causes caused by this, rustling and such as this. Protein.
Well, and also storage methods. You know, most of my meat is that I have on hand is in a freezer.
Right.
You know, or, I mean, it's fresh. It's not, you know, it's not jerky. You know, I get some jerky maybe for, you know, hiking and hunting. But, you know, so give us your solution to that and why.
Well, again, I advocate, you know, everybody have a year. A year supply is a rule of thumb I like, but it doesn't mean it's for everybody. But I suggest, okay, if you have a year's supply of meat, we have chicken, ground beef, diced beef. You can't tell from the supermarket. It's just like what you buy out of your from your butcher there, except again, it's in a state of suspended animation. Water hits it, it's fresh. But there's two disadvantages to storing food, especially longevity. Is it going to be any good when I want it? And the other is it's got to taste horrible. I just know it does. And that neither of those are issues in my mind. I can't project on how long we think this product's going to last, but again, I've experienced pushing 40 years with it. Officially, it's checking out at over 33 years holding good. But it's just wise. It's kind of like it's food insurance. And as we were talking about the little disasters, and I don't anybody losing a job, that's not a little thing, it's a big thing. But if it's going to get worse, then there's all the more need to have those things. You know, I guess our welfare systems, our unemployment systems, people are being stretched out to, what, a year now, I guess it is, possibly?
I don't know.
Unemployment.
I don't plan to be there, you know.
No, it's terrible. It doesn't show it's getting any better. So, again, we have car insurance, some have earthquake insurance, fire insurance, all that. This is a viable product that is good to have put aside.
Yeah.
Put it a little in your closet. It doesn't take up much space. It's very compact, and again, it's not foreign to what you're used to eating.
Well, you can put a whole lot of it in your car and get out of Dodge. So what we talked about how to plan. One of the ways to plan for your family's need is either rule of thumb, just get a prepackaged. You've got your supplies already turnkey, or you'll customize it. Particularly if somebody wants a lot of meat product and things like that, because that can extend whatever else they already maybe have locally, like what they're growing in a garden or grains and things they have stored and so on. So that's all good stuff. Other than the freeze-dried food and whatever other food things that make sense, what other things do you recommend as part of your storage program?
Well, one thing is I recommend what's called a bug-out bag, a survival rucksack. It's not to run off and hide in the woods for a week or two or a month, but just like Katrina, people who had those things fared much better. If the dam breaks and you have to get dislodged from your place, good to have something to live for a few days. The idea of the 72-hour kit, which again, in my opinion, is way too short, but it's still a good idea.
Right.
Everything. In fact, we're actually